Hey, Dan, how come Trump okayed Gina Haspel as director of the CIA? I don't know. I don't have a good reason. Was there some horse trade that went on somewhere? I don't know. If this happened under Gina Haspel's nose, again, she's either the worst station chief in the history of London, or more likely, number two, she knew about this entire operation to spy on Trump using London, UK intelligence assets and private actors who were working right under her nose. I don't know why she was selected as the CIA director. I have no good reason to tell you that. But I do find it awfully suspicious that Fusion Ken Delanian, remember Fusion Ken Delanian at NBC News? Ken Delanian is an alleged reporter, I know Joe knows him, who has been implicated in this Spygate media scandal because he's got a connection to Fusion GPS and getting tips from him. They jokingly call him Fusion Ken Delanian. Whenever they want to leak something about Spygate to make it look good for the scandal players, they give it to Ken Delanian at NBC. So it's awfully weird that Ken Delanian wrote this story at NBC about Gina Haspel. Check this out. Why do so many spies support Gina Haspel to head the CIA? That's classified by Fusion Ken Delanian. Let's go to a screenshot from the piece. Who else okayed Gina Haspel? Thought this was a great idea to put Gina Haspel in charge of our CIA now. Maybe to. Oh, John Brennan. Ha! Quote, Fusion Ken Delanian, NBC. Former CIA case officer John McGuire, who backs President Trump, has almost nothing in common politically with John Brennan, the former CIA director under Obama. But they both agree that Gina Haspel should be the next CIA director. The swamp isn't real. It's a conspiracy theory. What better person to have in charge of the CIA to make this all go away? And then Barr's like, no, we didn't see anything improper at the CIA. Gina Haspel's like, no, I didn't see anything improper either. Nothing. Really, it all happened in London while you were there. You know what the worst part about the whole story is? And we'll wrap this show up. The worst part about this whole story is, as private actors, we're using foreign intelligence services to spy on Donald Trump, with John Brennan being knee-deep in the whole thing and our London station chief either being too stupid to figure it out or being part of it. They were using private actors, and those private actors, one of them, was on the U.S. government payroll, and you paid for it. No way. Let's go to this article by Glenn Greenwald, one of the few honest reporters left. Not a conservative, by the way. In The Intercept. Now he's got his own Substack. He got away from these loons at The Intercept, but quote, Glenn Greenwald, headline. The FBI informant who monitored the Trump campaign, Stefan Halper, oversaw a CIA spying operation in the 1980 presidential election. Glenn Greenwald back in 2018. But at the bottom of this piece is a really interesting little tidbit to tie this whole little gift package together. Gift package, Christmas week, whatever. Here you go. Check this out. This little bad boy right here. Quote, Greenwald. Then there are questions about what appears to be some fairly substantial government, by the way, that's U.S. government payments to Halper throughout 2016. Gee, when the whole spying thing was going on Trump, Halper continues to be listed as a, quote, vendor by websites that track payments by the federal government to private contractors. Crazy. There's the screenshot right there. Stephen Halper, Great Falls, Virginia. So let's just sum this whole thing up for you. There was improper activity with John Brennan at the CIA. For some reason, Barr wants that to go away. Is it because Gina Haspel's telling him it to go away because she was in London when the whole thing was going on and we were using the United Kingdom to spy on Donald Trump and it all happened under our nose and we want to spare the United Kingdom the embarrassment, Gina Haspel, the CIA, and everyone else, so we're going to focus on the FBI, who did equally wrong in this as well, but that's no excuse to let everybody else off the hook. What did Haspel know? When did she know it? It's only fair, right? This all went down in London with a spy on the government payroll who worked in Cambridge and claimed in his own words his source was a Russian guy who appears in State Department notes as the same source the Steele dossier author said was his source, this guy Trebnikov. What's the connection between the two? One last point. Halper, the private actor being paid by the government, working in London while Haspel's the station chief there. And Steele, former UK spy working for Mrs. Clinton. What's the connection between? They're both saying they got the information from Trebnikov. Both of them. All the stuff, the PP stuff and elsewhere. They got Trump over a barrel, to quote Orr. That was attributed to Trebnikov. That's who they're talking about. What's the catch? Why do Halper and Steele both say that? I think they're not telling the truth. They made the whole story up. They attributed it to Trebnikov to give it the imprimatur, the patina, the code of seriousness. We got this from Trebnikov. I think they made the whole thing up. I don't think Trebnikov ever told them that. You think Trebnikov, the head of the foreign Russian intelligence, has this information and nobody knows about it but these two private actors? I think they made the whole thing up. I don't think they heard that from Trebnikov at all. I think they made it up. And what's the connection between the two of them? Chapter 6. I'll tell you, I'm not, you buy it or not, I'll tell you right here. I'm not like, oh, T is only in my book. No. But if you want it in detail, all the details and the references, chapter 6 of my book. What's the connection between Steele and Halper, who both have the same source? Wouldn't it be really bizarre if Christopher Steele's handler was Gaeta, the London FBI agent working in London, you know, where Haspel was a station chief, and Halper's handler was Stephen Soma, case agent 1, the one responsible for most of the untruths in the FISA document. And wouldn't it be even weirder if those two both had a connection and both worked in the New York field office?
You just heard Dan Bongino.